up, my fellow HHN obsessees, and welcome to the HHN Obsession Podcast, where we talk about all things HHN and obsess together over this amazing event. I am your host, JJ. With me, as always, I have the co-ghost. Are we still doing ghost? James.
Co-ghost James. And the ghost of the day is Daniel Gabriel Fahrenheit, who invented temperature. I don't know. That's a new thing. I just did that I tried that. Or Bob Dylan. It's their birthday.
Isn't Bob Dylan alive?
Oh, yeah. What?
We're off to a great start. Oh, my God.
He can be the ghost of the day anyway. He's good. Okay.
All right, I'm going to go right for it and say, all right, James, how are you doing today? What are your expectations for this episode?
Well, let me preface this with saying I've told you, okay, this is going to be nitpicky, but I always don't want to hear if a movie has a twist, because it gives expectations. And, the vibes were off today. You sounded like a little maybe bummed. So how I'm anticipating this is really wary. That's where I'm at.
Well, yes and no. I will say that yes, I am slightly disappointed today. And I'll just go ahead and say we did not get what I thought we were going to get. And that goes for almost the whole HHN community. Is it a bad thing? I don't think so. I think this could be cool. Maybe? Question mark? I don't know.
Any questions?
Any questions? Sorry.
It's a David Pumpkin house. No?
Honestly,
that could work.
Honestly, I'd probably take that over this. No, I wouldn't. I'm lying. That's dude, not scary. This is still cool. I'm leaving you in suspense, but
so are they, I guess, to all of us about the icon.
Yes, there was no icon announcement today, no icon house. I mean, yet they might surprise us.
What, like a scare zone?
It is currently 12:27 p.m. when we're recording this. If they out of nowhere decide at 12:33 that they're going to announce the icon, that would be insane. I don't think that's happening. So if you don't hear us freak out while we're recording, it didn't happen. If we are getting an icon, it's not today, as far as I know. I'm going to just go ahead and say this. Universal, although you gave us such a gift this week of all these announcements, you're a little mean. Let me tell you why. Because you knew that this house was the most unknown to the community out of all of them. You absolutely knew this because you decided to release this last, and you decided to make us continue to think that this will be an icon's house because we hadn't gotten it the entire week. So the anticipation for today was insane. It really was.
Did we get zonked or what?
I kid you not. At 10:31, when there was 2 minutes left before the announcement, the suspense and the adrenaline was so high. I felt like I was on a high. I was shaking. I was like, oh my God. I was so nervous about what was about to be announced because, I don't know, it was just crazy excitement, I guess.
Dude, I think you should see a doctor. Dr. Oddfellow.
But then 10:33 came around and we got something just not out of the blue, because this was something that was being talked about. It was a rumor, but it was a rumor that they weren't sure about. It was just kind of all over the place. So, all right, it's time. It's time to announce or to say what it was. The sixth and final original that we're getting for HHN33 is a house called Triplets of Terror.
Oh, we got triplets? Okay. Well, what are those? We got a bunny, a Sasquatch, and a corpse. Or is that Rob Zombie? It's like Muppet fun. Rob Zombie.
It's funny you say that. Muppet Rob Zombie. I like that. First off, just looking at this artwork, this looks very last minute. So it does make sense that the announcements this week were last minute. I mean, this, out of all the artwork that Horror Nights has ever done, I think this might be the worst. It looks very quickly done.
You're just mad because it's not an icon.
I
I
mean,
think you're being.
I mean, you're the artist. What do you think of that?
I don't know what's happening here. It's kind of, yeah, it is bad.
And
Uh,
okay, yeah, I'm a little upset we didn't get an icon today. Yeah, I'll admit that. Okay, fine. Yeah, sure. But what is this? um, here's the description. You're invited to the Barmy Triplets birthday bash, but beware, they celebrate by recreating their family's murders. Prepare for a gory gathering.
at least they still make time to see each other.
It's a family affair.
Triplets, okay.
I mean, this fits with this year, right? Triplets, threes. There's threes everywhere this year, apparently. So
I guess.
it's funny that you said Rob Zombie because when I first saw this, my first thought, and as well as a lot of people's first thought, was Rob Zombie's like Devil's Rejects or House of a Thousand Corpses type deal. To me, it is kind of Devil's Rejects meets The Strangers vibes
Okay.
happening here. Maybe like House of Wax. Have you ever seen House of Wax? It reminds me a little bit of that. It oddly also reminds me of there's a Resident Evil game called Resident Evil Biohazard, and it's basically a house of hillbillies that are possessed. It just straight up reminded me of that. It's straight up original, and it's the slasher of this year. If you think about it, it's an original slasher.
So these triplets are going around torturing people, like role playing. They're recreating their own personal like snuff film. They're going and torturing people in the way that what their people got killed.
I don't know. That is a good point. It says, "Beware, they celebrate by recreating their family's murders." Yeah. So, are they crazy? Are they like psychotic because their family was murdered, or did they murder their family? Which one is it?
Huh.
Every year for their birthday, they recreate how their family was murdered. So,
Hey, you know Dexter, the serial killer?
hmm
He's a serial killer because of like a traumatic thing when he was a kid. So I mean, he's not evil about it. It's just something he has to do. He fell in like a pool of his family's blood or something like that. I forget. It's kind of vague, but there's a lot of blood, and that's why he's a blood spatter analyst. But these killers, they could have been, switched at that moment, in that trauma. And this is maybe they're not evil. They're just they have to go back to that
James, come
those
on,
times.
come on. They're evil. Come on.
Nah, they're recreating Thanksgiving. They're searching for a connection. They're not sociopaths. They're trying to feel family. They just I don't know.
Do you remember in Walking Dead how Morgan was like, everybody's good in their own way. Everybody deserves to live. That's
Okay.
you right now.
Oh no.
That's you right now.
Okay. Okay, that's fair. But maybe they could be sympathetic in a. I mean, not now that they are the false icon. Now they're gonna be hated. But I'm trying to see where they're coming from. I don't know.
I guess, man. But let me talk about how this all went down real quick. Last night, there was a little bit of talk of what was going to be announced today. And it was down to still not knowing. Some of the insiders did not know. So this is what was being talked about. Legacy said Triplets of Terror is the Western in Slaughter Cinema. Think Three Amigos. That's what he said last night.
What?
Let me just point out that he knew the name already. So props to that part of it. The name was already known.
Yeah.
And then Pinhead says, I'm still leaning towards an icon house in some way, but recognize it could just as easily be based on the comic idea. And then Legacy on the forums followed up a little later with, it's always fun when you're getting conflicting information, even up to the 11th hour. Triplets of Terror is either the Western scene in cinema, or it's a house where the trio terrorizes a suburban town. Even down to, quote unquote, the 11th hour, they
Mhm.
still did not know exactly what was going on. I did ask if he knew why that reason was, why it was always unknown. His response, he did respond to it.
Do we give credit to Universal for keeping us in the dark up to the 11th hour, as you said, or do we hate them for this misdirect and this this letdown?
On one end, it's actually kind of nice to not know something. It really is. It is kind of nice to not know something. On the other hand, they knew Man, they knew that we didn't know, and we thought it was an icon house, so they saved this announcement for the end of the week for the last original.
Maybe that was a happy accident on their side, right? Because they were like, "Oh crap, we're at the end of our rope." But then they're like, "Oh, we could stretch this out. We can tease still. We still
Mm-hmm.
have this in our back pocket." And then here we are on another cliffhanger. So maybe they found a way to stretch it out. Maybe that's, I don't know.
So this is what Legacy responded to, or this was his response. Very few insiders actually believed something that sounded so lame would be an actual house. This was the house everyone thought was Sweets for so long because Sweets attacking the town is more creative than Universal's Not the Strangers. So that is why nobody actually knew what this house was, because they didn't want to believe what it was. It just didn't sound real. Like there's always false information, false rumors, so they just didn't believe what they were hearing. So that's why they never really locked into it. So it was just unknown. But he did go on to say that the description of this house got him excited. So he's excited for it.
All right, that's good.
Yeah. He said the idea was lame, but him reading the description made it a lot better.
Can you imagine this is the rumor that was like all but confirmed, but people kept rejecting it? It like kept floating to the top, and they were
Right.
like, it was more than a rumor. It was like almost confirmed, and they were shoving it in the people's face, and they're like, "Nah, go away, get out of here." It's like, I promise. No, that's not true.
Another tweet that he had tweeted out right when the announcement happened was, I heard about Triplets of Terror a month ago, but honestly thought the name was so jokey and the basis of it so lame. Honestly, I couldn't believe it would be anything but a cinema scene. Bummed to know this year's Townhouse is this. And then he quoted what he said a month ago. Yeah, I've heard Slaughter Cinema, and I definitely think it's happening. Just haven't heard much from it except one joke title, Triplets of Terror.
Wow.
So that's how chaotic this house was for insiders. Even then, I still give them all props for all this stuff. I mean, they knew the title, they knew the information, they just didn't believe it. So
I wonder if it was floating around as real so much, but like they kept putting it in like the back seat, like they were saying it was going to be part of the Slaughter Cinema, right? Like
mhm.
they're trying to make any excuse for it to exist but not be center stage.
I wouldn't say center stage, but
Well, it has its own house. That's pretty
I would say sound stage because that's where it's going.
okay. Good job.
Thank you. Thank you. But out of all the originals, this is going in a soundstage. Man, Major Sweet should have went in a soundstage, and this should have been in the Fast and Furious queue. Right?
What if they kill it? They could kill it.
You are absolutely right. You put Blood Moon at number 10 last year. I put Darkest Deal at like 7 or something. I don't even remember. It was like middle of the pack. And those were the top two houses for us. They completely blew us away. So you never know with originals. This could be amazingly beautiful in a gory sense, just like Blood Moon. So let me also point out that Legacy said that the cakes are tiered and too pretty for this generic slasher. LOL. The whole town is too pretty for just a gore house. So that was something that he described for this house. And then somebody asked if he could elaborate on that. And he just said it means 1, this is the year's gore house. 2, they're goring up a pretty town for this house. And 3, it's basically a generic slasher house. So think pretty
Well,
town, completely obliterated with gore. Sounds a little bit like Blood Moon in a way, but more modern maybe.
if they can walk you through some scenes, I'm just picturing like torture corn. I'm gonna say corn, torture corn, just for your
Keeping it
benefit.
family friendly.
Yeah, yeah. So I don't know if they can do some gnarly stuff that makes me want to puke. I will be happy. You know.
You know what's gonna make me happy is if we enter a scene and it's like almost like a kid's birthday party, but a bunch of like grown up psychos like just sitting around a table with a cake and party hats, and they're just body parts all around them, and they're just having a jolly good time. Oh, dude, this is the Five Nights at Freddy's like exchange. It's a birthday party, man. Imagine
Ah,
imagine this happening at a Five Nights at Freddy's location.
and all the gore. All
Yeah.
the birthday party scenes and the innocent settings that you can like. That would be cool if there's like details that you could look closer and it's made up of like flesh. From a distance, it looks like innocent. That could
Hmm.
be neat.
So, any final thoughts about this house?
Well, let's see. I mean, the anticipation was everywhere. Everyone is going to be bashing it. This is going to be like a hated house just based on this reputation. I'm trying to think.
You mean before everyone sees it, or you're saying like you think this is going to be the one people don't like?
Just as it stands, people are going to hold the grudge against it. So it's going to be fighting an uphill battle. Of course, expectations are low already. So maybe that's to its benefit. It can perform more
Dude,
under the radar.
I know I went on a rant earlier, but like in no way do I think this house will be awful. I don't think it will. I still think, I mean, it's going to be a gore fantastic house. It's just not what we expected, and that's what throws me off. But I'm not hating on it. I'm I'm expecting it to still be good. I'm not saying this is going to be like disappointment.
I think it is a little funny, and maybe it's the right move to hold off on the icon, because there's still some time to build anticipation, and we're still fresh. It's like don't open till Christmas type, yeah. And you're shaking the box, you find out maybe it's better to stay in the dark.
Mhm.
Like, I mean, coming from someone who tries to stay in the dark, maybe I'm biased, but it's a cool move. I mean, we still have something to look forward to. We're not like I hate knowing a movie's coming and I gotta wait 2 years. So maybe this is like if we know closer to when it's happening, you wait less.
Yeah. All right. One more final discussion about some of Legacy's posts here. So another thing that he did say last night was that he didn't think that this final house was an icon house. It could be, but it feels a bit unlikely based on the icon rumors. But he followed that up with, my gut is that the icon is a presence like an ephemeral entity or concept beyond a god. The Barker they're casting would be their herald in literal, not lore sense. So what he means by that is they were casting a character that would be barking in a scare zone. So like a talking character, kind of like Oddfellow.
Hmm.
So people immediately took that as, oh, that's going to be the icon's role, and it was a female role. So that is where the female icon rumor came from. But there's other barkers in scare zones before. That's not the only thing that they've hired people for. So he's saying that the icon this year is just going to be like this presence. It's not actually going to be like in human form, I guess.
Let me try and understand. There was a show called Bravest Warriors, and there's this character. He's a hologram called Wankershim,
Hmm.
and at some point he steps out of the hologram, and since there's no boundaries, he grows until he keeps growing and he's just everywhere. You're just in him. He's just like the atmosphere. Is it like that kind of situation, or is it like the force or a ghost? What kind of presence are we talking here? Like just
I've heard people guess kind of a Dungeons and Dragons vibe.
huh, like the mind flayer sort of like unseeable to us but everywhere.
In a way, yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
Again, a little bit of a rip off to Stranger Things.
Yeah,
But that's just speculation. That doesn't mean that's what's happening. So
a presence. That's interesting.
I just want to take this time, since this has just been a crazy week, not a whole lot of descriptions to talk about these houses with. I just want to go ahead and thank Legacy, Pinhead, and all the other insiders for always giving us something to talk about. Because if it wasn't for them, I think our episodes would be 2 minutes long, probably. So thank you to them. And of course, the house announcements aren't over this year. We're still going to be getting the IPs, but for now, these are all the originals. And those are always the ones that, there's not going to be a whole lot to talk about until we actually know a little more about them. So the
Yeah.
insiders helped a lot with our discussions. So thank you to them.
Thank y'all. Y'all are the champions.
Okay, let's end off this episode with, what do we think about the overall feel of this year so far? With just knowing the originals, I mean, we pretty much know the IPs. The IPs are pretty certain at this point. So let's just think about this real quick. We got Slaughter Cinema 2. We got Goblin's Feast. We got Major Sweets Candy Factory. We got Monstrous. And then we got today's announcement with Triplets of Terror. The IPs rumored, but are pretty certain that are coming, are Ghostbusters Frozen Empire, A Quiet Place, an Insidious Mashup House, and Universal Monsters Female Monsters.
Does that have a title yet?
It doesn't, but it could be the same title as the Scare Zone from Hollywood, Scream Queens with a Z,
Right.
but we're not
Scream
sure.
Queens.
So let's think about all these houses that we talked about throughout this week, the IPs that are more than likely coming. Could this possibly top 32?
Depends on the icon. I'm not giving it to it yet.
Oh, so you think the icon is going to have a lot to do with topping 32?
Definitely. I don't want to just score it as is. 32 would win, I think.
Well, I wouldn't say score, but like just speculating on it. But like to me, 32 wasn't just all about Oddfellow. I thought the houses were amazing last year. But yes, Oddfellow had an overall presence at the event, and that did make it all full circle. If they do that again, yeah, there is a huge possibility it could top it. But just from these original ideas, I think there's a lot of potential here.
Yeah, and I wasn't 100% crediting Oddfellow. Like, it was just a good overall year last year as well. Whatever comes out next is going to help me assess.
Yeah, we still also don't know the scare zones, and we don't know what the shows are if there's more than one show, which probably not. But I'm still crossing my fingers that there'll be some kind of Lagoon show or something.
Drones?
Well, yeah, there is going to be drones at the regular Lagoon show, but nobody knows if they had time to create an HHN show this quickly. It might be,
They have to invent the pumpkin drones. They have to put a little pumpkin on each drone.
but yeah, just looking at all these ideas, I mean, look how different everything is. We got a drive-in, we got some kind of goblin medieval times theme, we got a museum, a candy factory, Latin American monsters, and then this Triplets of Terror serial killer slasher. All very different locations, lots of variety. I think we might have a really good year this year, and you know what? I think there is going to be an overall theme this year, and you want to know why? Because 33, there's been threes everywhere. The fact they've been posting at 33 for everything, there's going to be some kind of overall theme that's going to connect everything. There has to be. The threes are going to be everywhere at the event. Just watch. There is going to be relations to everything.
Hey, check it out. Unholy Trinity. I mean, we got there's the triplets, yeah. But and then you're thinking like the Holy Trinity, you know, what if there was an unholy trilogy? I mean, there's been a Legion, you know, with We Are Many. What if there's a unholy Trinity? I don't know. I'm just thinking with the 33s and imagine Antichrist plus anti the other guys. I don't know.
Well, all right then. What a heck of a way to end off this crazy, crazy week. Very interesting way to cap it all off. Something we did not expect for sure. If you would have told me when we recorded the Slaughter Cinema episode, when it got released at that convention at Spooky Empire, that we were going to be doing daily episodes Monday through Friday, I would not have believed you. This has just been crazy, but it's been fun. Horror Nights, you gave us a great gift this year of giving us all these houses at once. With that said, I'm exhausted. I'm tired. I've been editing these episodes to get them out. So I hope everybody likes them. Thank you, everybody, for listening to them, for sticking around.
And which was your favorite of these episodes? Maybe we can like study the favorite. We can analyze like why was that so great, and we'll do that.
What are you most hyped for? What is the number one most hyped house for everybody? Let's hear it. But we should have a small break, thankfully. The word is what everybody's expecting, or what the insiders are expecting, is that we're going to get the first IP announcement the first week of June. That is what was originally scheduled to happen. That was going to be the second IP announcement date. So that's why they're expecting it to happen then. So be on the lookout for that. Hopefully in 2 weeks, first week of June, we'll be seeing that, and we'll get right back on the mic and record. But I think we deserve a good rest. That's where you say sleep is for the weak, James.
I know rest for the wicked.
We're just going to keep recording daily episodes to the end of time.
Every day?
Every day, man. You're stuck. This is what hell is like. This is why it's 3's. Half of 666 is 333.
Oh, another no-brainer that the people missed. Halloween, put the 3's in the E's. Hollow 33 and Halloween. Duh.
Stop putting 24 for 2024. It's 33. Put 33 in Halloween Horror Nights.
It's too late now. The 33 is, this is the only year you could have done it, and you dropped the ball.
Horror Nights.
33.
Chad, if you're listening, it's 33, not 24.
You're damn right. Just wait a while, giving you the hip at your face now. Wait a while, giving you the hip at your face now. Wait a while, giving you the hip at your face now. Wait a while, giving you the hip at your face now. Wait a while.
Hey everyone, just wanted to give a quick shout out to my good friend Zach Weber, who provided our intro and outro song, Heebie Jeebies. You can listen to the full version of Heebie Jeebies on iTunes, Spotify, Pandora, or anywhere where you listen to your favorite music. Thanks for listening.